Hello guys, Sorin here. I hope that you will enjoy our, let's say, first interview from what I hope a long series to come. I have here my friend Scott, who I actually knew like 1 year and a half ago when I started to take more seriously the online courses business. He's from Canada, but he's traveling all around the world, and he has a very, let's say, efficient way of launching new courses. And I thought that his story would be pretty interesting for you guys, and he could share some tips with us. So first of all, I let him introduce himself. And after that, I'll ask him a couple of questions so we can make most out of his time. So Scott.
Thank you, Soren. I appreciate you having me on. And I'm excited to be here, and I'm excited to share any information, answer any questions anybody has. And it was about 2.5 years ago that the company that made the Starbucks app asked me to go into their office in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada, and podcast, begging people to podcast, and being basically one of the spokespeople and pioneers for podcasting. And so he asked me to come in and talk to his team for about 2 hours about podcasting. And at the end of it, he was so excited. Now, he's normally a very excited person anyway, but he was just off the charts. And he just like grabbed me and he said, "Scott, you have to do a video course on podcasting." And I said, "Well, I got an ebook out on it, blah, blah, blah." And he said, no. He says, "It's got to be video." And it's kind of like how Moses must have felt on Mount Sinai when this, God said, "Make the 10 commandments." It was just like, okay. And that's what it was for me. And about 2 weeks later, I left town and I went down to South America because I was on my way to Machu Picchu, and I stopped in Colombia, Ecuador, and Machu Picchu. And it was a 6-week trip. And on the way, I planned out my whole course. And when I got to Machu Picchu, I've seen lots of video courses, and there's one thing that most of them have in common, and that is that they're boring. And there's usually, like a white background or some, nondescript background. And I just thought, I've been teaching podcasting for 10 years. I don't need notes, and I know what each section is going to be. And a lot of the course is screen capture, but the introduction doesn't have to be. So I thought, here I am, Machu Picchu in the background. Why don't I do all of my introductions from Machu Picchu? So that's what I did. I walked around with a selfie stick and my iPhone, and I talked about, in this section, you're going to learn how to set up an episode, blah, 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 blah. And the result was a 10-hour course a year and a half later. It didn't start out at 10 hours, but I would add stuff on an ongoing basis, which is a trick. You do a 2 or 3 hour course, and then if every month you add 15 minutes of new information, in a year, you've got a substantial course. And that's what I did. So it became quite popular. A lot of people loved the fact that, I was introducing podcasting with Machu Picchu in the background, and I forgot one section. So I didn't have Machu Picchu in the background, but I had taken a video because in the Andes, most of the roads are 1.5 cars wide. And on one side, it goes up at about a 90-degree angle. And on the other side, it's about a 70 to 80-degree angle. And it's like 1,000 feet up and 1,000 feet down. And the road just goes like this. So I stuck my camera and my phone outside the car because I'm on the outside. So if I'm going over first, if we miss a curve, and, for 5 minutes, I just took this and it went. So I used that as my video. And this introduction was, you may think it's really scary talking or being on camera or anything else. And of course, you've got this, you're whipping along the Andes on these hairpin turns. And the course has turned out to be a best-selling course on Udemy. It's my #1 course 2.5 years later. What I love about it is I do very little promotion. What I love about Udemy in particular is they do a lot of the promotion. I find if I do a little bit, they do a lot. So, and I've tried this out. Like I've done nothing for a month, and I go, wow, like Udemy did nothing.
Yeah, and it's crazy. I mean, it's completely passive if you want to. Yeah.
And then I use Udemy to put out a couple promo videos or a couple educational videos, not videos, I mean emails, and then they'll promote it more. So it's like you have to be active in your courses. You have to love the courses and your students. and then Udemy rewards you. And I just think it's absolutely amazing that I would spend, a very minimal amount of time over a couple months to create a course, and 2.5 years later, it's still bringing me in a nice little income.
Yeah, and what I have noticed, I mean, I think that your first course, it's the longest one up to this point, and I think that's the same for me. I mean, one of my first courses, it's still the longest one. But what I find interesting about this, is the fact that there are people out there, who haven't promoted at all their courses. I mean, they just launched them and they still make sales and they get money every single month, and that's crazy. I mean, that's the definition of passive income, most likely in any other type of business, including any other type of online businesses, at least you have to send an email. So you still do something, but here it can be absolutely completely passive, and that's what most people want, right?
Yeah.
And I know that during time, how many courses do you have at this moment?
I have 70 courses.
70 courses. Wow. That's a lot of courses. And basically you started with the first one. The first course, if I remember, because I remember some of the movies that you told us about. Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's important, right, to try something different than everybody else. Exactly like you said, with the background, you were in a different place. So this is a recommendation that you would probably do to people, if they have the opportunity to use something more interactive or to engage more with the students. I think that definitely helps, right? And also to not just to leave the course out there like it is, if they can make updates from time to time to do them, right? Because there are niches where you can create courses which are evergreen, probably like yoga or cooking courses or stuff like that. But there are also courses, for example, most of them are into online marketing. So new things are appearing all the time. Some of the older things don't work, and you have to make some updates if you want to keep them at a high level, And what I've noticed, and I think you have noticed that too, if you add lectures in time to a specific course, it starts to sell better. Am I correct with that?
Yeah, you have to keep updating your course. And that's one thing that Udemy has on their sales page for your course is last updated on. And if it was, 2004, then most of the people looking at the course are going to say, well, is this really, up to, they want up to date, they want new information, and they want that feeling. So I think that's really important to every once in a while. And, it can be so easily done, right? Like you could, in every industry, there are things that happen, and you could just, so for example, in podcasting, Apple made a deal with the car manufacturers, so now there is a podcast button on all the new stereo systems on all the new cars. Great, right? So I could talk. Yeah. So Udemy wants 2 to 7 minute videos. So I could talk quite easily. I probably already have talked for 2 minutes on this one little change that is really big, because it means your podcast could be heard on somebody's car stereo as they're going to and from work. So how cool is that, right? So in every industry, there is something that happens every month, every week, every 6 months, every year. Again, it could be as simple as you brought up yoga. Well, we're having a yoga retreat. And when we had a yoga retreat, and this was, some of the testimonials, and this is some of the pictures from it, and blah, 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 and you just add that on as a bonus at the end, right? So it's not like it's hard to do, and it's not like you have to add a whole new section or revise your whole course or anything else. And that's what I did with my podcast course, by the way. It was about 2.5 hours. And then I thought, someone asked, well, how do you, how do you use Facebook to market it or something? So I called up a friend of mine, Mark Timberlake, and I said, do you mind doing a hangout? I have this question. You're an expert on it. We'll talk about it, and then I will share it with my classmates. So he said, great. Well, I couldn't shut him up, and it was 45 minutes long. And it doesn't take very many 45-minute hangouts, which I split into, 40 minutes, 20 minutes.
Free lectures, 2 or 3 lectures, yeah.
Right? And I put it up, and before I know it, I have a 10-hour course. So it's a very easy thing to do, because you also want to update people on what's going on. and then you get questions from your students. And that question that I had was, how did I do the videos where I was walking around Machu Picchu? So I was home at that point, so I got out another camera, I turned the camera on me, and I said, here's how I did it, I showed, and then I cut from the camera's picture to my selfie picture, back and forth, said it was easy, and that's how you do it. It took, it was a 5 or 10 minute project. And
yeah. That's great. I mean, using what students are asking you, to give them, like, I saw that at a lot of instructors, that they are using that. If they ask you something, you can give them like a video response, and they are much happier because they get like a personal video response from you, and you are the instructor, but you also add content to your course, which is great, because ultimately it will help with updating the course, creating new content, and getting more sales.
That's
but
right.
What I wanted to ask you, right now at the moment you have like 70 courses, right? I mean, how did you manage from the first course? How did you manage to get to 70 courses in such a short period of time? I mean, it's like crazy. You did like more than 2 courses per month, I think, right? Or
Yes.
somewhere around there.
It's it's almost 3 courses a month. And so what happened when I got back from my trip and I put out my first course was I told a lot of my clients about the course that I had and Udemy. And I mean, Udemy is very impressive, right? You can see a yoga course, which is one that I checked out, had 5,000 students, and it was $100 a pop. Well, 5,000 times 100 is $500,000. I went, wow. Now, we know now that's not the way Udemy works.
Yeah.
But at the time, I didn't know, right? I had no clue. So they all got excited. I got excited. And we started doing all these video courses. And because I was working with experts, all I had to do was ask them certain questions and help them teach, because they were not necessarily good teachers, but they were good speakers. And then I would just edit the course and put it up. Now the problem was that I did 5 very, very quickly, and I had no time or a real desire to do the editing. So I realized right then and there I needed more of a system. And there were certain things that I would not do, because most of the time, even though I'm a good video editor, I'm not a great video editor. I don't want to spend 8 hours a day, 40 hours a week editing videos. Like, to me, that is incredibly boring. So I found a video editor in the Philippines, and she's been working with me for over 2 years now. I just give her the videos, she does her magic, and like, it's hard to let go, right? Like, when I gave her the first one, I was like, oh my God, I hope this works out. This is like, I was so worried. And then when I got the video back, it was like 3 times better than anything I could do. So my co-instructor was happy, I was happy, she was happy. I'm sure she's bought a new house now because of all the money that we've given her for video editing. And it cut down probably 2/3 of my production time, because really, sitting here talking, that's easy. Now going through it and cutting out the stuff that's the yums, the ahs, or the stuff that's boring, or adding text that flies in, or a nice picture that flies in, that takes time and research and thinking. And so to me, this just sped everything right up. The second problem I had was the instructors, my co-instructors, while they were very good at what they did, they were not very good teachers, and they didn't know how to teach. Now, having done the course myself, I took a bunch of Udemy's and Udemy instructors, how to be successful on Udemy courses, right? Anyone I can
There's a lot of them now.
There's a lot of them. I mean, I stopped now, but for the first 6 months, everyone I could get my hands on, and I think a bunch of them don't exist anymore either, like Alan Hill and Jerry Banfield. But Scott Duffy's around, Mark Timberlake's around, you're around. So I just watched everything that I could and to get an idea. And then I realized, this was key, was that I'm selling courses for $10.
Yeah.
I'll sell one course for $100 or something, but almost all my course sales are going to be $10. So what does that mean? That means 2 things. One is I can't depend on one course, because am I going to sell 1,000 a month? I don't think so. Okay. And even if I did, it's selling for $10, but Udemy is taking 50%, or they're taking 75% if you're on the affiliates or the ad program. So, And so I needed to be able to upsell, which meant I needed to have a series of courses that I could upsell people to. Okay, so that meant if they took my podcasting course, I have 10 courses on how to breathe properly, how to be more passionate, how to use video for your podcast, how to,
I think I actually, sorry for interruption. I think I saw a post on your Facebook, right? A couple of days ago, there was a guy who took like all of your podcasting courses,
yeah, it was like
and it
8
was
sales.
great.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
so you got like, I don't know, from that person, if you only had one course, you would have gotten like $5, but instead you got like 40 or 45 from a single person.
That's right. And it happens more often than you think. The other thing that happens is someone will buy one of my courses, then I will do a promo email through Udemy, and I will say, here are similar courses that you might like. And so every couple months, that person may buy one or two because they finished this course, they liked it. What else has Scott got? He's got this course. Oh, he just sent me an email. It's on special. Click, I'll buy it. And I'll usually get 97% of that. So you have to be able to upsell the people to different courses. You have to have multiple courses because people do binge buy. It's like Netflix, right? People will sit down and they'll watch 20 episodes of a show in 3 days and then they're done. It's like, whoa, really? Well, on Udemy, people will, it's $10 sale. They will buy 5 or 6 or 7 courses. It's no big deal, right? Because you're saving, $500 sort of thing. So it's really important that you have a series of courses and that you have lots of courses, because otherwise at $10 a pop, you need to have, then if you don't have that, you need to be in one of the really hot areas like programming, which I don't have a lot of experience with.
So another thing that I wanted to ask you, because, you brought the talk about different niches or hot areas or stuff like that. I think a lot of people, the first thing that they ask themselves is, okay, I don't have a topic that I can teach other people stuff about, or I don't know what to teach, What do you think? What is your recommendation on this? I mean, in my opinion, it's absolutely impossible not to have something to teach. I mean, if you have a passion and expertise and experience in something, you can teach, even if you, for example, if you are passionate about trying out different online tools, like how to design in Canva or stuff like that, you can teach that, right? I mean,
yes.
What's your opinion on this? What's your recommendation? How should people start? Which are the topics, that they teach absolutely any sort of topic?
I think you can. I think you can teach any topic. And the reason that I say that is there's a lady who's made over $40,000 teaching how to make sourdough bread.
Oh, Teresa Greenway. Yeah.
That's right. So, I mean, if there was any topic in the world that I thought, I mean, bread is wide, but this isn't bread. This is like one type of loaf. And she has 4 courses on it. So, and now the other thing to realize is that she was doing it on YouTube before, and a lot of those people followed her to Udemy. So that really helped. She had created a following. So
she had an audience.
She had an audience. So if you don't have an audience, the good news is Udemy will help you build one. And that's, so include YouTube in your promotions, right? Like in your strategy. Like you should be doing videos on your topic on a channel in YouTube with a link to your Udemy course. I mean, that just seems like a no-brainer, because the people want to watch videos, and maybe they'll, pay $10 or $20 to take your course. They're certainly in the right category, as opposed to like a blogger who reads. They don't watch video, but I mean, they read, right? Or a podcaster who listens. YouTubers, they watch. So you got a video course, they'll watch the video course.
Now, what I wanted to ask you also, do you use this as a long-term strategy? Because I see that a lot of instructors, and I think this is a good strategy on the long term. I mean, I want to apply it for a while now, but I didn't actually have the time to start to do this. To create your own website, to get your audience from Udemy to your own website, starting to build your audience on your own platform, and then sell like more premium courses or stuff like that. I started personally to send my students into Facebook groups, because it's much easier for me to interact with them there. But I've also tested, bringing them to an email list or stuff like that. But I know that as a long-term strategy, it can be a good idea to drive that audience, or at least a part of it to your personal website. And then you can use a platform like Teachable or Zenler or Thinkific to sell more premium courses or stuff like that. Do you think about that? I mean, do you want to go in that area in the future? Is that a long-term strategy for you?
Well, not for me. But that's a personal decision that I've made. I do have a long-term strategy that's similar to what you said, which I can share with you, but I want to just deal first with what you're saying. Udemy is basically telling the world all courses are worth $10. And it's going to be very, very difficult for me to take somebody who's used to buying Udemy's courses on sale for $10 to my site to say, here's a $300 video course, take it. I find, and it's the same with Kindle, like Kindle books, it's like, oh, I'm selling it for 99 cents. Well, that's what Kindle books are now, and you have to have something beyond it. So one of the things that I tell all of my co-instructors is the course is a lead generation course, very similar to what you're talking about. And what will happen is the people will learn, they will learn who you are, they'll know who you are, they'll listen to you, they'll see you, particularly if you're doing what we're doing right now, which is talking head, and they're going to want more. So the question is, what is the more that you're going to give them? So for a lot of people, it's coaching or a retreat or a live event or something along those lines, where you're going to have me for 2 days, ask any question, I'm going to teach you everything that I know, blah, 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 and you're going to be an awesome podcaster when you're done, sort of thing. And for a lot of them, that works because of the type of businesses that they tend to be in. Some of them it doesn't. So I happen to do a course with a fellow who is a tremendous programmer, and 12 years ago we started working on stock options. And I've been working with him probably for 7 years on improving, like he's a programmer, so it looks like a programmer's program. Nobody but programmers can understand it. So I said, you've got to make it easier for someone like me to understand. And he did, and easier and easier. And now it's simple, easy, and still there's a lot to it. And the program really works well. So we did an Introduction to Options course. We did Here's How the Software Works course. One of the persons that we had saw what we did, says, well, I use a slightly different system. Can I do a course? So we did an advanced course. Then we did the mindset and all these things. So what happens is people take the courses, they get a free 30-day trial of the replay, which means they can practice, and then they can buy either more months of the replay at $50 a month, or they can buy the program and use it for live trading at $250 a month. So this has brought us lots of really good customers. Like, you want really good customers, people that are serious about it. We have a Facebook group. They're talking in the Facebook group all the time. This is what my trade was. Oh, I made a mistake on this trade. Anyone have any ideas why? The programmer gets in there all the time and he's telling them about this. We have people who've been using the program for 5 or 6 years and are very successful. They get in and they help people. We have a coach. So if you want to have, you want to speed it up or whatever, there's a coaching program that you can join. And so we've created this whole back end that's based on here's the way you make money on options. Here's the software that helps you make money. Now you need to practice and learn it. And here's
so this is a great way to, let's say, I mean, to maximize your earnings from online courses, or even, I think it's even more than that. It's like using the courses for lead generation. I mean, your main business is selling to them the retreats or the coaching or the program, mentoring or whatever, because that's like a high ticket product. And you use the courses to drive quality traffic to your offers. Yeah, that's right. A great idea. And I think it works very, very well for a lot of instructors.
So here's another way to look at it. Udemy will pay you let's say they split everything and it's $5 a course. The person that buys that course is self-selecting themselves. In other words, they are interested in the topic, right? So Soren, you have a course on Facebook marketing. I buy the course. I'm already putting my hand and say, Soren, I'm interested in Facebook marketing, okay? Yeah. So at the end of the course, you get a free bonus lecture where you can pitch whatever you want to pitch, and you say, well, by the way, I have an advanced Facebook marketing course, and it can be on your own site or it can be on Udemy. Here's the link. Go take a look at it. I take a look at it. And by the way, if you are just starting out and you're not sure of stuff, I will help you set up your first Facebook ads campaign or something like that. And here's what it's going to cost you plus whatever you spend on that ad. And I might go, you know what? I'm the type of person that it really helps me if somebody looks over my shoulder and tells me what to do, and then make sure I don't make any mistake, because who wants to lose money on my ads? And so I'll take you on that, right? Now, you may say, there's so much good information in this course, it's worth way more than, it's worth, you know, let's say it's worth $300, but I'm selling it for 10 and I'm only getting 5. What a ripoff, okay? Now, here's what I want you to be thinking about. How did you get me as a customer? Udemy, okay? Udemy paid you $5 to give you me. If you had this course on your own site and you went to Google or even Facebook ads and you said, Google, send me, you know, some people who will be great customers. Google will say, sorry, Soren can't do that, but we will send you tons and tons of people. Just cost you $1 a click or $5 a click or $10 a click, because there's a lot of people doing Facebook ad marketing and they're spending, and it's an auction thing and the price goes up. But hey, you get a lot of traffic. So you spend $100 or $500 and I show up and I buy your course.
Right.
Right. So you can pay Google and eventually Google will send me to you, or you can put your course up on Udemy and Udemy will send me to you, and they'll pay you, right? So you can pay Google or Udemy can pay you. And once
so you get paid for getting leads.
Paid for getting leads, right? Now, how good you are at closing, how good you are at selling, that's a whole different story. In fact, that would probably be a really good course to put together, okay? How to upsell people from your course into retreats, coaching programs, and whatever, right? Because
that's a great idea. That's a great idea. We have to put that. We have to do a plan for that. Yeah, that's a great idea.
Because we know there's 30,000 Udemy instructors that would be knocking on our door wanting the course.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a great idea. Yeah, Scott. So thank you very much for sharing that, man. Another thing that I wanted to ask you, I seen that recently you have launched a lot of courses, right? So I think that over time your strategy, probably has adapted and changed a little bit. I know that now you are doing a lot of courses like we are doing this interview right now, like interview type of courses or stuff like that, and it works very well. And I think it's very effective. What can you tell us about that? I mean, what's to know about that, how it works?
You're absolutely right. And the reason that I do this is because it's the easiest, quickest, simplest way to put together a course. And it depends a little bit on the topic. So I have been moving towards personal development type topics, or let's just say that, even if it is in podcasting, it's still sort of the same way in terms of we're talking about how to do a specific thing. Okay, so I have a podcast course on breathing, how to breathe, right? And what I'm staying away from is the screen capture type videos, okay? And simply because you can do them and they can be quick, but what I find is a lot faster and a lot more interesting is two people talking. Like when we watch the news, there's always two people talking. There's always, everything is always two people talking. So I'm looking at what's happening out there in the world and what's everyone's doing, what's popular, what's trending sort of thing. And I'm realizing that having a conversation about a topic is really important, okay? And part of the reason it's important is certain people will hear me say something and the light bulb will go off and they go, oh yeah, that's it, I got it. And they will also, other people will listen to me and haven't got a clue what I'm talking about, just the way it is. But they listen to you, if you're on this side or on that side, and then they say, oh yeah, I got it, right? So people need to hear it more than once. So if I say it and then you say, Scott, I think what you meant was, let me see if I got this right. What you're talking about is blah, 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 blah. It's called clarification. And then they go, oh, yeah. And this comes from podcasting, because I would do interviews or I'd have a co-host on my podcast. And one of the things that I got a lot from was, so-and-so was talking, I didn't get it. And then you said this, and that. I go, oh yeah, now I get it. So I realized people need to hear often, and they need to hear from more than one voice in order for it to sink in. So by having two people talk about a topic, they're getting it from two different perspectives, two different tones, two different voices, two different people. And somewhere in there, most of them will get it. Not all of them, but most of them will kind of get what it is we're trying to get across. And the easiest thing in the world with our technology is for me to find an expert. And so here's my system, okay, is I find an expert on a topic. So an expert on how to change light bulbs. How to change light bulbs. So I give them a PDF and I say, here is the outline, fill it all in. Because he knows how to change light bulbs, he doesn't know how to even use his computer half the time, right? So he fills it out on Word, he sends it back to me, I create the course in Udemy, he has nothing to worry about, I call him on Skype or Zoom or Google Hangouts, and I say, Soren, why is it important to change light bulbs? And you're off to the races because you love talking about light bulbs and changing light bulbs and everything to do with light bulbs. And I could care less, but it doesn't matter because I'm listening to what you have to say and I'm thinking, everybody in every industry has their own language. They think it's English, but it's not. So when they get into their jargon, nobody understands them. So I listen for the jargon and I go, okay, Soren, you were talking about filaments, but like, what is a filament? And then you tell us. And you were talking about the vacuum, like why is it important to have a vacuum in the bulb? And then you tell us. And so the people that are coming along this conversation with you and I, they're having the same questions. Like they're going like, I don't understand what mercury or H12O3 elements are, and I don't either. So then I ask, and then you explain, and then everybody knows. And we all understand why it's important to change our light bulbs the way that you say that we should change our light bulbs. And the result is that I get a long 60-minute, 90-minute video on Google. I download it. I send it because what I'll do is I have the outline, right? I'll say, okay, well, that's the end of lecture 1, section 1. Now we're going to go to section 2, and we're going to talk about mercury halogen light bulbs. And let's get going. Here we go. So my editor knows this is where it starts. This is where it ends. She goes and chops it all up. She puts some text in. She puts a picture of a light bulb in. She uploads it to Udemy. You've spent 10 minutes on your outline. I've spent an hour or so putting the course together. We spent 2 hours on Google Hangouts. So we spent 3 hours each.
And the course is done.
The course is done. And you know what? If the course is a total flop, it's the worst course ever, straight half stars, nobody buys it, everybody refunds it, it was 3 hours of our life. The saddest thing in the world in the Udemy Studio Facebook groups is when some poor guy gets on there and says, I've been working on my course for 6 months. 8 hours a day, it's 7 hours long, it's been live for a month, I have 2 students, and they're both free. What am I can you imagine anything sadder than that?
Yeah, so, I think it's maximum frustration. I mean,
so we sit down and we do this 3 hours. We have this video course on changing light bulbs. We get a bunch of sales. So then we say, okay, how do you change a fluorescent light bulb, right? Or how do you halogen? Or how do you do that? How do you string up Christmas lights so you have the best Christmas lights on your house? Like, who knows where it goes? But it goes somewhere. Yeah. If nobody's interested, then what else do you know, Soren? Well, I know this thing about I get lots of money when I sell something on Facebook, or I sell something and I put Facebook ads to it. Really? Okay, well, let's try that. 3 hours later, we have that course. Is it successful? Yes, no, I don't know. I have a lady that 2.5 years ago, she was one of the first people I told. She did a course, and it's on EFT. EFT is tapping. to get rid of emotional stuff, right?
Okay.
She's been doing it for 20 years, and she's been helping people who compulsively pull their hair out, okay? It's called trichotillomania. I had never heard of it before.
Whoa.
Okay.
Yeah, me either. This is the first time I'm hearing about this.
Exactly.
So
So imagine how popular that course would be. Like, not at all, okay? And that was the result. It was not very, but she wanted to do that because that's what she was doing. Plus, here was another reason to do it aside from sales. She would have almost all her clients were trichotillomania clients. So she would give them the course, and they would use the course to reinforce the therapy that she was doing with them. She was a therapist, okay? So it wasn't just about the money. But here's the funny thing, is it sells, right? Like it's 2 years later, so for a year and a half, like really one every 2 or 3 months, right? Now we're up to 2 or 3 a month. We don't know why. It's just gotten some traction, whether people are talking about it or they're posting links to the course on their blog. We don't know why. But all of a sudden, she said to me the other, like, we're getting some sales on this course. And I've done 10 courses with her, okay? So we know trichotillomania is not a good course.
It's not a good topic. Not a good topic.
Great course, it's not a good topic. And, stress relief is a much better topic. And I mean, if she'd asked me or if I thought about it, I would have told her that. But that wasn't the point. The point was to get into the process of creating the courses. And once you're in the process of creating the courses and you have a new habit, which is creating courses. I have habits now of creating courses, no big deal. And it's easy, and it's because it's a habit. I've done it 70 times. So it's the same with everybody else. And I wanted to get her in the habit of creating courses. And so there have been months where she has said, Scott, this is the stupidest thing in the world. I can't stand it. I'm going to give it all up. And I go, oh, okay, Joan, sure, go ahead, do that if you want. But did you not tell me that you were going to be speaking at a conference next week? Yeah, I'm speaking at a conference next week. So would you have that opportunity if you didn't have 10 courses? Would you feel comfortable getting up in front of people if you hadn't practiced speaking in front of the camera all those times? Would you have it organized, like we had to organize all your information for your courses? Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, and didn't you tell me that you got a new coaching client from the course? Yeah, that's right. So it's not, if you take it just as the course, that's like having a wife, since we're both guys, and we're only looking at her hands, or her cooking, or the fact that she, she's this whole person and we're just looking at this little bit and we're ignoring all the rest. You have to think of the whole picture, and the courses are one part of your strategy for your business, whatever that is.
Yeah, well, for example, I was totally surprised, at one of my first courses. That's what I realized after like 2 or 3 months, that the courses are just a small part because they can like open a whole new world of opportunities for you in different ways. And at the third course, I think I just thought to myself, I should do a support group for these people, And I did a support group on Facebook. I sent an educational email to all of them from the course on Udemy, and some of them joined. Not everybody joins, but the most active ones usually join. And those are the ones that have the highest potential to actually become your clients for coaching and stuff like that. And without having absolutely any intention, of getting a coaching client or something like that, I started to ask the ones which were the most active in that course, how is it going? How is your business? Have you applied to what you have learned in the course? Did you start to get traffic? Did you build your website? Stuff like that, And at a certain point, there was a lady from Singapore, and, she asked me after we had like 3 or 4 conversations, and this is the fun part because I'm still working with her, but on something different. So she asked me, Sorin, wouldn't you be interested in, are you doing also coaching one-on-one, or aren't you interested in coaching one-on-one? And I was like, what the heck? I didn't even think about this, it didn't even run through my mind. And I had her like for 2 months, But the problem was back then she was in a stage, I think, in her life, when she was trying all sorts of things. I mean, she was all over the place, she wasn't very consistent on something. She didn't knew exactly what she wanted. And it went well. We have kept in touch. I had her as a client, as a coaching client. She was the first, like, for a couple of months. But, it was like, I told her, you are like my first. If you want, we can give it a try. But I don't know how to do this coaching thing because you are the first, And she was like, okay, let's do it because you know a lot of stuff. You are interested in what I'm doing. And, so people are very responsive when you see that you are actually involved. And now, like 1 year and a half later, she started a drop shipping business a couple of months ago. And it went very well for her. I was very happy because she finally actually found that thing, that worked for her. She went from I think from 0 to 4K per month in the first 3 months or something like that. So it was very, very good. And then she started to do these courses there, in Singapore. And she asked me at a certain point, Sorin, I started to do these live courses here. Do you want to work with us as a referral, as somebody who sends people, as an affiliate? And I was like, sure, okay, we can give it a try. I had some experience with Facebook ads and Facebook marketing. And actually we are working on that right now and it works pretty well, I mean, it's like for 2 and 3 months, and that's a person who I would have never met if I wouldn't have created that course and interact with the students and stuff like that, So it opens a whole new world of opportunities.
I think it's a requirement that you have, I'm going to say something and then I'm going to reverse it, okay? That you have a Facebook group. And for every course, just for exactly the reason that you said, it supports us, plus everybody's on Facebook. I think depending on your students, it's better to have a Google Plus community. And I'll tell you why. I have a Power Podcasters Facebook group for all my podcasting students, and they share stuff and everything in there. But in Facebook, it's just shared within Facebook, right? It's just there's the whole rest of the internet. If you have an open community on Google, Google will give some ranking to your posts in the community, particularly if it's an active community, if it's got good stuff in it and all the rest of it. And it's not just posting your podcast episodes, it's posting in news about your podcast and that sort of stuff. So I have a friend that has a very successful online video instructors community on Google Plus, and I don't know, he's got a couple thousand people in it, and he says you get great SEO pushes from Google when you've got a community like that going. And so I would look at, if it's something where you can say, I'm going to help you get ranked, like get your podcast ranked, join my group and post every episode there and anything else you find out about podcasting. And that group is going to become an authority area. And when you post, you're going to get some link juice. Whereas with Facebook, that's not the case. So if you're specific to, like my trichotillomania students, Google Plus, forget it. They don't want anyone knowing anything about them, right?
Okay.
It's private, very private, as you can imagine. But if
it's very niched.
It's very niched. But if it's, if it's how to do the stocks.
Very, very niched.
Yeah. If it's another area that's, where everybody wants to be well known, like if it was a course on how to speak and be a professional speaker, then the Google Plus community would be ideal because that would give them a lot of power behind their posts, which would link back to their sites and to them, which is important. So
nice.
I've been thinking more and more about Google Plus these days.
Another thing I wanted to ask you, are you putting your courses on any other platform besides Udemy? Because that's how I've personally started. I started with Udemy and I never stopped. I mean, I'm still publishing courses there from time to time. I'm having different partnerships. And but I've also went to other platforms. For example, last year for me, Skillshare went much better than Udemy, did much better, than Udemy. But I'm also on amazing.com and also on Stack Skills, which it's a pretty good platform. And I wanted to ask you if you have any other platforms where you publish your courses, or you are interested in the future to do that, or you have any platform in mind or something like that?
I'm curious as to how Amazing is doing for you, because they approached me about my podcast course, and as far as I know, a year and a half later, I keep pushing the button that says publish, and they keep putting it back into draft. So I've given up on them. So how are they for you?
For me, it works pretty well, but I started from the beginning with them, and the whole fact is that you have to keep in contact with their support team, because they still approve manually, I think, some of the courses, and they are making a lot of the changes to the platform. The whole idea is that amazing.com started as let's say a courses membership platform like 1.5 years ago. Before that, they were a high ticket course which was called the Amazing Selling Machine.
Yeah,
there were these guys who were selling a $5,000 course regarding how to do private label on Amazon business,
Yeah.
Something which I'm into at the moment as well. So I think at a certain point they thought, okay, we have all of these people, this online courses industry is booming, we should transform it into a membership, invite instructors. And from what I've been communicating with them lately, they are more into developing other products of their own as well. So they are more focused on that. But at 2 or 3 months, they approve some new courses as well. But they don't approve that quickly. You have to be a little bit perseverant with them. You have to insist a little bit, and finally they will approve you. That's the same case on Stack Skills, if you know the platform.
No, I don't know that one. I looked at Skillshare, and everything just seemed to be a lot of work to get up, and I wasn't sure that I was going to get the return that I wanted. The one that I was really interested in was Amazon Video Direct. Simply because if you've got a course on how to change light bulbs, and someone's looking for a book on how to change light bulbs, the chances are your course is going to be shown to that person. So if it's relevant to, like if you did one on camping, for example, there's a whole huge section on camping equipment, and it'll be people who bought this tent looked at this course, So I think that when you have hundreds of millions of people going to a website, buying stuff, and your course could be one of the things that they buy, I think it's a no-brainer.
Yeah. So did you try it out? I mean, did you put your content there? Okay.
The thing that I dislike about it is you have to have closed captions. So rev.com is $1 a minute. So every few months I take one of my courses and I get a closed caption and I put it up.
And which are the results so far? Well, I mean, it generates any income. I tried to publish a couple of lectures and stuff like that. It was a little bit difficult. I got some money in, but I mean, it wasn't worth the effort. It depends on what type of courses and content you create, I think, a lot,
That's right. And I put some stuff up and I've left it for a few months. I just wanted to see how stable it was. And I've been consistently for the last 8 months for every 3 months at about 35,000 minutes watched.
Okay.
A lot of minutes. And it's not a lot of money, but it basically tells me if you've got some topics that are of interest to people on Amazon Prime, you can generate, because it's ongoing. Like if I put the courses up that I put up and I got 35,000 minutes for 3 months and then 0 after that, that would tell me that this is going to be a lot of work. But because it's consistent, it just means you just got to keep adding content until you get it up to the amount that you want to have it earning. And sometimes they buy, sometimes it's on Amazon Prime and you get pennies. So that's kind of
depends.
It depends. Yeah. So with that, I would see one of the things I've been thinking about with my traveling is maybe what I should be doing is a little travel log of all the different cities that I'm at, and then make it 30 minutes. Put closed captions on it, put it up, and then just create this whole travel.
Or another thing that you can do is just film. You don't say anything, so you won't need closed captions. You just put some nice music on, and that's it,
I wonder.
Yeah, would that work? Yeah.
That work.
Yeah, because when you travel, people more, if you have great views, they would like to see the view. They wouldn't even want to be disturbed by somebody talking behind the
You just
camera.
have
So
a couple captions of where it is, like Cambridge, England.
yeah, yeah, yes,
Oxford,
that can
England.
be an idea. I think that
Try that. That's a good
yeah, yeah,
idea.
you should try that. You should try that. I think that more platforms will appear, and the biggest advantage with these courses is, like, for example, I have like 8 or 9 of them, which I run on multiple platforms, and they also generate money on Udemy. They generate on amazing.com, and they've also generated and still generate on Skillshare. And I think that new platforms will appear because this is just the beginning in the industry. Of course, every single month, I think a new one appears, but a lot of times they don't work very well. They don't get any traction. But still, at a couple of months, appears a new one which gets some tractions, and some of them will actually grow in time. I'm 100% sure about that. But while you were telling me about Amazon Video Direct, I was thinking, I read an article a couple of days ago about a guy who created like a tutorial about something, and he sold it on Fiverr for $5. And I don't know how, I think the topic was of high interest on Fiverr, but he got like, I don't know, 20 or 40 sales in the first 2 days. And it just ranked very fast on Fiverr. And after that, in the first month, he got like 200 or 300 sales. And I was like, I didn't even think about that, but that's another marketplace where you can go and sell the course, because if you get it organized and you can have it on your platform or like an archive with all the files or that, you can sell it for $5 there, and it's another source of income,
That's a great idea. I've heard that and forgot about it, and thank you very much for reminding me, because I think that would be an excellent way, because again, it's where people are it's where people are spending money. And
yeah, the whole idea is to get in front of as many eyeballs as possible, right?
Yeah.
I actually tested.
I was going to say, if they buy your introductory course, then once you get them on Udemy, you can upsell them into more courses.
Yeah, and a lot of people on Fiverr, actually, what they do with their gigs, everything is at $5, but most of the people don't buy something just for $5. They buy the higher priced product because they offer you variations, and you won't buy the $5 logo, right? You will buy the $30 one, which also has the source file and everything else. And that's what you can do with the course as well. I actually tested, when I started, I tested for one of my courses, but I didn't hang out enough on the platform, to tweak it and everything. And I had like an online traffic generation course, and I published it on Fiverr because I thought, okay, this is something that more people from this platform would be interested in. I think that most of them would be interested in, because there are people who have different businesses, freelancers and stuff like that. And I actually got in time like 2 or 3 sales for that, but I didn't give any interest to get reviews and stuff like that for it. And from what I know, like on Fiverr, more than on any other platform in the world, you have to get reviews, and like fast. If you want to be able to sell something there, you have to have like very good copy and get a lot of reviews. If you watch all the gigs there, they have like, for every order there is a review. For every order there is a review. The review rate is like 100%. From all orders you get a review. That's how the platform works.
Nice. Yeah, that's a great idea.
Yeah. So Scott, thank you very much, man, for sharing all of these things and your story with us. What's the plan for this year? How many courses do you want to launch till the end of the year?
I spent 3 weeks in Croatia with a yoga instructor at a retreat, and I recorded, this wasn't like this recording, it was with my camera, 4 courses with him back in October, and recorded 5th, all on his area of expertise and what he wanted. So it was very fast, and I'm just actually today organizing the files so I can send them to my video editor so she can get working on them. And
nice.
So
nice.
My goal is to continue traveling the world. I left in January 2017 from Vancouver, and I've been hanging around Europe so far this year, and having a great time. So my goal is to continue to travel the world, continue to do the courses, continue to look after the other projects that I'm working on, and I want to hit 100 this year. I don't know.
100.
It's June. I got 30 more to go. It's actually I've got 25 to go because I have 5 courses that I've done.
You have the 5 ones. Yeah, yeah. So it's totally possible. I mean, at your rhythm, like 4 per month, it's totally possible. So yeah,
That's
good
right.
luck with that. Okay, man. Thank you very much for being here with us. And where can people find you if they want to find more information about you, or they want to check you out to see if you're a real person?
The easiest thing to do is go to Udemy and look and do a search on me and look at my Udemy instructor profile, because that has links to my Facebook and LinkedIn and Twitter. www.powerpodcasters.com is my main podcasting website if you want to check that out. And
great. Okay, man. Thank you very much.
And he knows how to get a hold of me.
Yeah. And I will give you the direction. Thank you very much, Scott, for taking the time to be with me on this call and with the viewers. And thank you for sharing the story and the tips. And I hope you have great weather wherever you are going right now. You are going to Odessa, right? So
Odessa,
I hope you'll have a great time. Yeah, I hope you'll have a great time, and spoke to you soon, man. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Talk to you again soon, Soren. Bye.